Hey, everybody, and welcome to Tribal Trades. I have got another great episode for you. So tune in. We have the Bitcoin price prediction, when I think the market top will be and what I think this cycle top will be for Bitcoin. This has been based on some viewer questions that have come in through the channel. I do appreciate all of those who have subscribed and joined. Please, if you haven't done so already, if you could smash the like. Your comments and questions are welcomed, and I do get back to all the comments and questions and acknowledge them there. And so please keep those coming. I so welcome those. And obviously the likes and the comments certainly help get the information out there to other people, to really help other people out there in the market. And if you haven't done some already, you can click on the subscribe button there, and you will join our ever-growing community. Okay, well, this, as always, is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. For education and entertainment purposes only, this is what I feel are the most probable outcomes for this cycle. And so let's start with the Bitcoin market cycle top. Now, based off, if we go off other previous cycles, the top should be somewhere around the last quarter of 2025, around possibly September, often referred to as Rectember. And so certainly I don't have any reason to doubt that that shouldn't play out again. I mean, I remember the last cycle, people going, oh, this is going to be a super cycle and we're going to have a blow off top. And then suddenly the market crashed exactly when it should have, on cue. And so until I get any solid reasoning or sound reasoning, for me, the Bitcoin reaching its all-time high before the halving isn't enough for me. Not yet anyway. Certainly as we get further along the cycle, I may change how I feel about that. So I'm leaning towards the Bitcoin cycle continuing to play out as it normally does. However, I am aware of the ETF going live in January 10th of 2023 this year, and that a lot of selling pressure may come in around January, February time, and maybe even front run in December of 2024, because if you hold an asset in the United States of America, like the ETF trading on the American Stock Exchange, you will avoid the capital gains tax if you hold it for longer than a year. So I feel like most of those who bought the ETF would be wiser to, if they're going to take profits or sell, to do so after they have purchased it, and a big bulk of the sales coming in, of course, January and February, March time. And this is why we saw the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. There were always outflows. All the other ones, they're inflows. Why? Because the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has been around for quite some time, many years. And so people were able to take profits and sell their shares there without realizing a capital gain. And they're the only ones that were able to do that because they had the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust set up, and the others didn't have any mechanism like that. So the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust was basically converted to an ETF, and so people are able to sell and avoid the capital gains tax. So if there is going to be an early end to the cycle, I'm thinking more or less that it could be coming December 2024 or first quarter of 2025. And that's if there is to be an early end to the cycle. However, we could just see quite a good correction around that time before we find higher prices going into the third quarter of 2025. So that's my market top probabilities, the highest probabilities there. And I feel obviously we're going to have ups and downs along the way, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a correction in the new year, January 2024, around that time, so people can sell and take profit, avoid the capital gains tax. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was an early finish to the cycle, which some people have been predicting because Bitcoin did reach its all-time high before the halving, that yeah, that could make sense, and that could possibly be the time that that could happen in the first quarter of 2025. I certainly will be looking to de-risk a bunch in anticipation of an early market cycle top in the first quarter or a large correction in the first quarter. And of course, I'll keep you updated on this channel if any of those views change, or if anything in the market happens that changes that approach and that thinking. The second part of it is what will be the Bitcoin price prediction. And for this, we're going to go into the charts. And I've just basically gone off the Fibonacci's. Now, when Bitcoin hit 15K, I called that this was the market bottom. There was a lot of analysts, and I remember having discussions with them online who were calling for it to go to 11 and even 5 and 6. And I said, no, this is it, 15K. I even encouraged everybody that I knew to buy some Bitcoin, and obviously most didn't, but those that did have prospered greatly. And so, but my market cycle top, and this was even before the Bitcoin ETF was approved, and this was before the Bitcoin hit its all-time high, before the halving. My Bitcoin cycle top was always somewhere around $100,000 to $120,000. And I've kind of settled more now on a middle of that range of around 111, but I kind of keep moving between like 103, 111, 120,000. So those three prices I've kind of gravitated between each, but I am more favoring now the lower end of that range, the 103,000 to 111,000. I do feel like when we hit 100,000, it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news, the euphoria of hitting 100K, and then there's just a big sell off and we just never get back up. You know, we have a wick above 100K and go to 102, 101, 102, 103, and then we don't come up again. Or then maybe we have that correction, and then we come back up to 111. I do feel that 120 is something that I had for a while, but I kind of now feel I like it just a little bit lower. So that would be my very, very top prediction for the top for Bitcoin. My second most favored model there for price prediction is around the $85,000 to $89,000 model. And this really comes down on the law of diminishing returns, because when you look at Bitcoin, if you look at a Bitcoin today, you know, around the 70K price zone, or was just a day or so ago, it's just dipped under that. But let's just say 70K, nice round number. For me to double my money, Bitcoin has to go to 140,000. It has to double its market cap. There are some meme coins that are doubling in a day. There are some meme coins and other coins that are doubling or tripling in a very short space of time. And yes, they are more high risk. And yes, you could get rugged or lose your money, of course. But I do think there is a law of diminishing returns at play, and people might look, when the Ethereum ETF goes live, people are going to look, I can get, you know, how many Ethereum for the same price of a Bitcoin? You know, 20, is it 20 times now at 3,000, 10 times 3,000? Yeah, so you can kind of get 20 Ethereum for around about 20 Ethereum for about one Bitcoin, and or close to, give or take. I'd have to get a calculator and work that out. I'm sure someone's going to do the math and correct me, and I'd welcome that. Thank you. So there is the law of diminishing returns. So we could have a situation where Bitcoin does pump up to $80,000 here, and then have a good correction back down again to the 71,000 or the $73,000 level, and then we could go sideways for a while, you know, good 2 or 3 months, and then we could have a final push up to the mid to high $80,000 area. So that's certainly my line of thinking. And the last price point that I have interest in is around the 150K to 170K region there. And I think that is the most likely for this cycle. Do I think Bitcoin can get there eventually? Yes, of course I do. But I think for this cycle, we could see, I feel that it's a lot less likely to happen. And look, anything can happen. And of course, I'm very much a person of probabilities. And what I feel is the highest probability is the $103,000 to $111,000 Bitcoin. The second highest probability, in my opinion, my prediction, and that's all that it is that $85,000 to $89,000 area. And then thirdly, the 150 to 170,000 is the third probability that I have. And very much if this, then that style of trader, which means that I'm very much looking for if there is anything that changes in the cycle that might change my mind. If that happens, I will certainly update this channel. I'm going to quickly go to the Fibonacci so people are just not thinking, hey, you just pulling this out of thin air. Well, I'm not pulling it out of thin air. So, as far as the 80 region we have some Fibonacci there at 89. We have at 87 and 83. So there is definitely some confluence here where we could see this come into play as the top. And we obviously at this point would push up to here, and then we could have a full breakdown, and then obviously eventually push back up to the mid to high 80,000. And I guess that was my second option. Of course, my first option is sitting around here. You can see at the 1618 on this side, on this Fibonacci retracement, and over on the other side, on the longer scale, a longer term price scale here, we got 111,000. So we have some confluence here around this price, and we also have it around here at 103, the 2.272, the 2414106. So I do like this area right here, and I feel that there will be a lot of resistance right here in this market cycle. And so I do think that Bitcoin will break 100K this cycle. That is my firm belief. And I do think we're going to get stopped here. And as you can see, this was my 120,000, which was my original price point that I had. And I certainly feel like this area here is where Bitcoin will find its top. I do feel it's less likely, and that's my number one region. I do feel it's less likely to get up here to the 150s to the 170s. You can see there on the Fibonacci's here that we have some possible up the top targets here around 153, 157, 148. Certainly this would be my third most likely scenario here. And obviously you have 148 and 156 over there, and then 168, which is close to the 170 mark. I don't think we're going to see this one here at all. And I do think that this is less likely, although possible, of course, is less likely to happen. So there you go. Those are my Bitcoin market cycle top from a time perspective, and also my price predictions for the top price for Bitcoin for this cycle. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, until the next episode, happy trading.